how do I find clients? I always find it so funny. It's like, okay, finding clients, getting clients, that's already scarcity. You're already in, I don't have it. How do I get it?
Right.
And instead, we
Right.
want to kind of calm down first and go like, okay, I'm abundant, I'm enough, like I have everything. And then from
Right.
this place, who do I need to become so that they
Mm-hmm.
come to me? And then how do I need to show up so that they come to me?
Hello and welcome to Chaos to Clarity, the podcast that's your compass to navigate the exciting world of service-based businesses. If you're a determined woman in your current business adventure, striving to conquer the chaos and build your empire, then you are in the right place. I'm your host, Maggie, your go-to business bestie and chaos navigator. I've spent nearly 2 decades in the service-based industry, building a photography business, a yoga studio, and now a thriving coaching practice. I've cracked the code to consistent income without all the chaos and noise. So get ready to increase your business growth, connect with your ideal clients, and find ease in both business and in life. It's time to turn your frustrations into inspiration and your chaos into clarity. So go ahead and grab your coffee, a pen and paper, and let's dive into the journey of building your dream service-based business together. Are you ready? Let's go. All right, everyone, welcome back to the Chaos to Clarity podcast. My name is Maggie. I'm your host. I'm your Chaos to Clarity coach and your business bestie. And today I have with me Eugenia. I'm so excited for you all to meet her. So I'm going to let her take it away. Eugenia, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are and what you do, and maybe how long you've been in business?
Sure. Thank you so much, Maggie, for having me here. So I am a business soul strategist and marketing energetics coach. What that means is I help women who are spiritual coaches, healers, personal transformation experts to save years of pressure and forcing themselves into strategies that don't work and instead align their business to their unique soul design. This way, you essentially leverage your unique badass inner magic that you got in there, your gifts, to create a business that generates multiple 6 figures or even 7 figures. That's my specialty. So how I got into doing this? Well, I was born clairvoyant, so I could see energy, timelines, possibilities, non-physical beings, and pretty much being one of those crazy unicorns. And that kind of naturally brought people to me because you can't really hide that, especially as a kid. You start talking about it and then you
Yep.
very quickly become known as a witchy something. So I got bullied a lot. I got a lot of, trouble for that. But at the same time, I also got clients. So by the time I was 14 years old, I was already having paid clients and my business essentially began from 14. And
Yeah.
then from that point on, I kind of kept working with people and it started more as in energetics so that it would be pure advice on like their purpose, their way as to like how to show up, or energetics in some sort of a relationship or something about like abundance and things like that. And then over time, because a lot of my clients were business owners, it shifted into helping with messaging, helping with market positioning, helping with how do you monetize your gift so that you actually can have a business that not just generating money, but you're close to burnout, but generating money when it's sustainable and when it feels good and so on. And over the years, it sort of ended up as my methodology of putting together all of that into, okay, this is your soul design. So essentially like decoding how you're made, and then very practical business stuff as to, okay, how do we apply that magic into something? But instead of doing 200 different things and throwing spaghetti at the wall, you're only going to do 2 or 3 things, do them well, because those align with you. And that is then activating your profit potential so you can generate the wealth that you meant to.
Yeah.
That's kind of like
Oh my
in a
gosh.
short what I do.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that so much. And I love how you were able to take some of that chaos that you were feeling, right? All of that, oh my goodness, at a young age, because those years are just they're so formative, right? And you can take that path of, I'm going to use this gift and, kind of along the lines of like, I don't care what other people say. I'm going to use my gift and I'm going to stand up and do this even when all the crazy things happen. I love that so much. Cool. That's awesome. So since you have such longevity, this is so awesome to just tap into some of that. What is something challenging? And It could be, recently or, within the longevity of your business, but what's something challenging that you have overcome in your business, and how did that affect your business?
Well, one of the things that I ended up changing in my business, and now actually my business essentially is teaching others how to do it. So it was a transformational piece for me, but also highly beneficial for my now clients, is that I figured out a different way of structuring the business. See, what I did originally is, like most people who have some gift, is I started to do private appointments. They were one-off sessions. I charged, at first like $50, then $100, then $300 and whatever, but essentially it was just private appointments.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm very, very good at what I do, I ended up with a full calendar.
Sure.
And kind of like it's a dream of everybody, but for me, I burnt out and then I started it again. And then I burnt out again. And then I started it again. And then I burnt out the third time. So I was at the place where I had over 700 clients. I was booked ahead for a year. I worked 7 days a week, well, 6.5, 12-hour days, and still people wanting to come in.
Yeah.
And I realized, okay, I want to serve. Like, that's my purpose in life, is to serve humanity, to upgrade consciousness. But I'm actually being less effective because I'm semi-dead. Right. So I need to change something. And I've tried different things. Like I've tried teaching, I've tried courses, I've tried all sorts of things like that. And what I ended up with is that none of those things created the income that I wanted to give me the space to be fully resourced for the work that I was doing. And then eventually I realized that I'm actually not using my own soul design, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So one of those things was that, okay, I am a very exclusive person, and it's very fashionable to be all inclusive. Everybody's welcome, and I'm actually kind of not like that. Like I am very refined. I'm very specific, and what I deliver is very highly customized, and the level of care and attention and everything you get with me is like beyond. So that I'm like, okay, I'm doing this session, and then I'm doing the same client session, let's say in a month from now, and then again in a month from now, but I'm thinking about this person for a month. I'm caring about them. I'm worrying about them. I'm downloading amazing new somethings and then emailing this person. It's like, hell, I'm not getting paid for any of it.
Right.
Like I'm holding them in this container, but there is no container that they're paying me for. So that's where I kind of stepped into higher level coaching and mentoring. And that actually translated into higher end business because that's exclusive. And in truth, most of us who have a unique gift like that, we meant to be exclusive, not inclusive. Yeah. We meant to not give it to everybody. We meant to give it to specific people who on a soul level already contracted to be our clients. Yeah. And that means restructuring something. So for me, a lot of it was dealing with like, a little bit of a guilt of leaving people behind, or how am I going to do it? Like, what am I going to do with 700 clients as I'm going into this and all this stuff? And I had to detangle that within me. So now I help a lot of coaches who come to me and they're like, okay, I'm an energy healer or coach or whatever it is that you do, personal transformation, something that I have a lot of clients and I'm very busy, but it's like frantic busy. And I want to scale. I want to get to the next level. I'm at 6 figures, but I don't know how to get past it because I can't work any harder than this. And it's like, I got you. I've been there. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I have a solution. So that's what I would say I overcame, is I overcame trying to not really please people, but more like live by the rules of society into stepping into my own rules and saying, well, my rules work for me. I'm going to stick to this. I'm going to do it this way. And then the right people will come to me and the wrong people will not. And that's exactly what happened. So sort of like I tested that on me. It got me to $1 million. And I'm like, okay, well, that's obviously working very well. And that's what I teach my clients too, is that you don't need to go around in circles for years and slowly work your way from $100 session to $500 session to $1,000 course to maybe $3,000 course, and then maybe have a coaching program for $5,000. Right. Like my clients get it in 4 months. Literally, you can go from, if you're good at what you do. So I'm talking about experts. I'm not talking about somebody who's just starting and trying to figure out what is my gift. Like that's different. Then yes, you do need to practice a lot to get good. But I'm talking about the ones who, I mean, how many people out there who like really magical, like freaking amazing, but they've been this way for a very long time, kind of seeing clients and sort of like it's either on the level of a hobby, or maybe they are fully booked and really working and they're like, okay, I want to go further, but I'm almost like don't even want to do the thing I'm good at because it's so exhausting.
Right.
That's where you need to adjust a lot in internal understanding. So that was the thing I had to change in me, and it created a better service out of me. Like I could serve better because of it. And that's what I now end up kind of like flipping to help my clients.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's so awesome. I love that. And I think, like, I think you can care about, a lot of people, a lot of clients, but at the end of the day, when you can niche down, right? When you can find those like soul level clients that you are, like soul bound by, right? You're meant to help these people. That creates so much room and potential for those people to come into you and for those others to be in your wake, but kind of, I guess, be ready for when they are ready, right? Instead of kind of fighting for everything and just trying to be like, yes, I'm going to help everyone, really refining that and saying, yes, I love everyone, but I'm meant to help this group of people. I think that's really special. And I think, so I've owned businesses for 16 years, and throughout my tenure of owning businesses, I've really learned how to understand who can I best serve right now? And that can shift and change, but right now I'm meant to show up and serve coaches, right? Like a few years ago, 5 years ago, when I owned the yoga studio, I was meant to show up in the community and serve my community really well. And now I've been able to upgrade that to online and choose different niches. So I really resonate with what you're saying, right? To really understand in yourself what it is you are doing, the gifts that you have, and then go out and start speaking to those people. That's so powerful.
Yeah. And I always teach my clients to look at it like a soul mission pyramid, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
like pyramids in Egypt, right? So
Yep.
imagine the capstone, that's your soul mission. That's where your attention goes. So that means your personal involvement and this deepest level of care goes to only the capstone. That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that there is no bottom to that pyramid, right? It's still
Right.
there, but
Yep.
that's where like the bottom would be free content. This is how you serve community. This is how you create a lot of impact for people who maybe can't afford anything at the capstone level.
Yep.
Then you have something a little bit more, like maybe a course or something like that, like a group program, something that's, mid-level. And then on the
Mm-hmm.
capstone, that's where you choose to put your efforts. Most people who are in a spiritual entrepreneurship tend to flip it. They think that, I need to serve at that highest possible level, everybody at the bottom of the pyramid. And then someday I will create this amazing, I don't know, magical healing center or something. And that would be the capstone. But then they burn out before they even get to the next level up. They never get to capstone at that pace.
Right.
So that's why we always want to flip it. So I would always suggest to people, like, think of what is your soul mission, tune in, feel it. Like, what are you here for? Like I'm here to help women who are conscious to make money essentially through their gifts. That's like the very non-marketing statement, but really baseline. That's what I'm here for. So that's what I was from. Am I helping somebody actually create that? Like, am I doing that impact if I'm right now going to be creating this course for $500? No.
Right.
So then that's not where my attention is going to be, unless you already have like huge audience, and putting a course like this once, recording, and it's just like you have huge audience, why not? It sells. But if you're at the place where you don't have a huge audience, like I don't, I work actually with very few people and I have very select audience, but that's actually kind of a proof, and a lot of people that I work with are like that with audience of 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 people, you can make millions of dollars instead of thinking that, oh, I need, I don't know, millions and millions of followers. It's depending on the model. If you are doing business when you're creating every month a new mini course for $27, then yes, you're going to need millions of followers. But if that's not actually your soul work, and your capstone is more like direct customizing for a specific person at the level of absolute magic, well, then why the hell would you do that for $27 or $100? Right? So that's where you don't need a lot of audience. You do need a clear message, though. And that's also part of what I help people with, is to find the voice, to find the magic words that help them connect their soulmate clients, so that you're not just talking to everybody, that you're talking to a very specific person, and not in a kind of a fake avatar thingy that nowadays is very fashionable,
Right.
but more like psychographics of the person, like the internal world of the person, that from that place, you know exactly how to connect the dots for whoever you're speaking to, that they are found to you, instead of you going after them and chasing them and trying to, like, this thing, like, how do I find clients? I always find it so funny. It's like, okay, finding clients, getting clients, that's already scarcity. You already, and I don't have it. How do I get it?
Right.
And instead, we want to kind of calm down first and go like, okay, I'm abundant, I'm enough, like I have everything. And then from this place, who do I need to become so that they come to me? And then how do I need to show up so that they come to me? That's what I do with my clients, is the creating the vortex to magnetize people to you, which completely eliminates client chasing.
Yeah. And it's amazing to me how many people are in that scarcity without even realizing they're there, right? I was talking to a client earlier this week, and she said, I have to figure out just how to get clients. That's my problem. And I was like, okay, let's back that up a little bit. And like, what do you want to be feeling before you even talk to these clients? Like, let's get abundance ready in your body. Let's get it in your body. So, you know, we did some work on that. And after that, a few days later, she's like, I had like 5 people pop into my inbox just unexpectedly. And I was like, good, let's keep that going, because you're right. When you can be in that abundant state for yourself, right? Your cup overflows. And then it's magic when people are like, oh my gosh, I want what this person has, and I need to work with this person. It really is a wonderful kind of magic.
Exactly. And in my approach, I combine the structural linear stuff with non-linear.
Okay.
And to me, that's kind of the secret sauce sort of how to make it work for spiritual people, especially women, because most of the current marketing out there and the business studies and whatever teachers are teaching is very masculine. And that's where you get like 20-step funnels and super complicated tech, and when you need hundreds of followers. And, you know, it's like there are different levels of business when different strategies applies, right? Solid strategies are still solid. But for women, especially solopreneurs, this is like their head starts spinning and they're like, I don't get any of it. I don't want any of it. I want out of that.
Yes.
But you do need some business strategy. You do need some marketing strategy, because without strategy, nothing works.
Right.
But you also need the other side. And that's what a lot of times people dismiss. Like if you have intuitive navigation, if you have some magical gift, if you have access to what I call quantum field, so you can call it universe or oneness or goddess or whatever, but you have access to this big thing. Well, where do you think your money comes from? Not from clients. They come from that big thing. They come from God. They come from universe. They come from quantum field. So it's more about then, am I matching the frequency of the thing I want to create? And do I have the linear strategy to implement the thing I'm trying to create? And as long as those two are together, now you can actually only do 2 or 3 things, do them well, and get the result you want in a very short time, because you collapse the potential. You shortcut the time.
Right. That's amazing. I love that so much. So tell us one business tip that you would tell someone who is maybe feeling stuck in the chaos in their business journey right now. What is something that you can give to them?
Well, chaos usually means you're looking for the right answer. And the answer is there is no right answer.
Right.
There are your answers or somebody else's answers. So if you're stuck in a chaos, step 1 would be to say, what do I want? Like, what do I want to create? Like, come back to what is the point you're trying to get to? And I don't mean linear goal, like I want 20 clients. I mean, what kind of experience do you want to have? Maybe it includes 20 clients, but what else does it include? Do you want to be stressed, frazzled, and out of your mind with the 20 clients? Or do you actually want to feel like, oh my God, I love working with these people. They came to me and it was so easy. On a sales call, they were practically pre-sold. There were like almost no objections. They could afford me, payment plan or not, but somehow it just all happened. Like play pretend the future. Like my methodology is called conscious future method. So it's like literally play pretend the future. So you get to feel it Not just like think about it, because that doesn't work, but feel it in your body. You might want to journal about it. You might want to sit with your eyes closed and tune in. You might want to go down granular to what kind of like underwear or bra you wear when you're that identity. How fast do you walk into your kitchen? Do you run into your kitchen to make your coffee and then run back to your computer? Or do you walk like a queen? Do you drink water out of the crystal glass instead of a cheap glass? Like little stupid things like this, they all matter because they psychologically create little anchor points in the quantum field for the new identity. Once you figure out that, first of all, your chaos is already not a chaos just by doing that. But the second step would be now overlay that beautiful new identity onto the current you and look at what is the discrepancy. Like, what is the difference between the two? Like, oh, she breathes deeply and I breathe shallow. Like, oh, my future self, she kind of like relaxed, her back was straight and I tune into me and my shoulders collapsed. Okay, she didn't have anxiety. I do. Then start looking as to why. Why is her back straight? Well, because she's confident. Okay, so where are you not confident? And what's the difference? Like, what is she believing that you're not? Or let's say she is somehow slower when she speaks and she speaks like this and you're like this. Well, again, is this your personality or is this actually that there's something off? Maybe like, how sometimes people feel like they don't have enough time to say everything on the sales call. So then they like verbal diarrhea. They just like say everything. And then they wonder why the client didn't sign up. Well, because you didn't talk to the client, you talk at the client. So little things like that, like you can apply it to anything. Like literally, how is this future you that already has whatever you imagined you wanted? How is she on a sales call? Like, how is she when she's even posting a post? Is she posting a post with, oh, I hope somebody comments? Right. Or is she posting a post with like, oh, I said exactly what I wanted to say. Somebody needs to hear that. Well, okay, that's a very different attitude. And attitude means different energetics. And different energetics means you either attractive or you're repelling. You can post the most correctly written post with repelling energy and nobody will even see it. To the point that algorithm on the Facebook can even collaborate with you and hide the post.
Right. Yeah.
I've seen that too. Yeah. Because it's all quantum field. Or the other way, when you post something and suddenly, like I had when I had 100-something thousand worth of clients out of from one post. And the post was something about, I don't know, my childhood and living in some village in the summer. Like it had nothing to do with business. But that's because it was the right frequency. I was in the right energy and I was the magnet. Like I was magnetic instead of having an agenda. And noticing these discrepancies is what helps you clean up your inner chaos, because chaos outside is always first chaos on the inside.
Yes. Yeah. And I love that so much because I talk about a lot of these things with a lot of clients, right? Like what can you come back to for you on the inside, right? Like, and really imagining and stepping into that amazing queen version of yourself, right? That higher level of yourself. You don't have to spend the money like you're that version, right? Like that's what I had a client one time say, yeah, but that version of me spends all kinds of money and I don't have that money. And I'm like, well, it's not about the money. Like how does she feel, right? Like how can you embody that person and how can you step into that lifestyle and, what you want. And, she had a lot of work to, get from where she was to where she wanted to be. But that's the beautiful part about coaching is that, just like you, I get to help people through that. And I think what you're describing is so amazing that you have all those gifts to just really help these people, these women streamline things and really, step into that amazing thing where they can do those 2 or 3 things. And then they can have their, 4-hour work week or, whatever it is that they desire. And they can have like all of those things. I think that's just so amazing.
Well, and a lot of it is simplifying. It's kind of funny that people think like, okay, well, I'm at 80,000. I want to get to like 250, like 250,000. And there I need to add this. And then I need to have this program and that program. And it's like, That's the opposite.
Right.
The higher up you go, the more simple it gets.
Yep.
So like you can literally have one only offer. That's it. And you don't need to create freebies every week. You can have one something free that's generally you're giving away that's super high quality, not something you put together like a checklist, but like a course even free or something. But one thing, you can have one offer, maybe two if you really need to, and that's it. And you can scale to really high level with very, very few in the audience. So simplifying is actually also begins on the inside because it's all about personal mastery first. So I would always look at like, okay, where is your world complicated? Like where are you thinking you need a lot of things for something to happen? And that's just a different belief, right? Like I always say, how easy can I let it be? How easy can I let it be? Because it implies that it can be easy. I'm just not finding the easy way. Well, how easy can I let it be? It doesn't mean you don't do whatever you need to do. Kind of like you do what it takes until it takes. That's part of being an entrepreneur, or nothing's going to happen. But with that goes the right attitude. And the right attitude is, okay, I'm going to do whatever it takes until it takes, but I'm going to be vigilant on finding shortcuts and doing it the most effective, efficient way. If the most efficient way is for me to re-record this video, then I'm going to re-record the video. But if it's not, then I'm not going to worry about that I said something wrong or that my hair was off. Kind of like you have to have that internal compass as to where it matters. Sometimes we spend way too much energy on things that really don't matter. Like I hear that a lot from people saying like, okay, I got to finish my website. I got to finish this funnel. This page doesn't look right. And then I need to make sure that I have like 20 posts. So I'm all prepared and I need to practice this video. And I'm just like, oh my freaking God, just go talk on Facebook Live and you can get a client from that. Like all this other stuff is extra. And yes, of course, when you're on the level of business, when you already have a team and everything, of course, you want to have your ducks in a row and look professional and have your great website and the funnel and whatever else. But if you're a solopreneur, so if we're talking about somebody who's just kind of getting to 5, 6, 7, 10,000 a month, you don't need any of it. Like I've sold $6,000 programs without even having a website, without even having a PDF giveaway thingy for it. Like I just talked, people said, okay, that's great. One of the programs, I'll give you an example that I sold it brought me, I think 150,000, 180,000, something like that. And I sold it before I had it because I woke up one morning and I had this great idea and I thought it would be awesome. And I started talking about it and somebody said, okay, how do I sign up? I think this is perfect for me. I'm like, okay, let's have a conversation. We talk, she signed up. And I'm like, okay, now I have to make a program because she signed up. And then another one and another one. It ended up being a group program. And I got paid money up front before the program was even burst. It was just like incubating within me. So then I started creating it. And I knew, of course, overall where I was going. And I knew the kind of a result I could provide them because I know me and I know my talent. But at the same time, the actual program wasn't in existence. And then as we went along, I was before every week, like 1 week earlier, I would kind of like, okay, next week, this is where we go. Next week, this is where we go. And that's how everything was created. And then afterwards, of course, you can reuse that material and so on. So this is just kind of a clue that don't overthink it, don't complicate it. That's part of how we create our own chaos. Mastery is simple. It might be not easy to do, but it's simple.
And I think that is a really great point that you bring up, right? When you think about all of the business things. And I know when I first started my photography business, that was the first business I started. I basically just went around telling everyone, I'm a photographer. I would love to take your photos. This is what I charge. And I got so many clients doing that. And when I bought a yoga studio in 2014, I went across the street to the bar that was across the street. I live in Wisconsin, so there's bars on every corner, right? So I went across the street one day in my yoga clothes and I walked in and every other person in there said, why are you all sweaty and in yoga clothes? And I said, oh, I teach yoga across the street. It's $5. Do you want to come? I'm teaching tomorrow. And that's how I filled my classes, right? So just very, very simply. And the same thing with my coaching business now, right? I approach people and I connect with people on Facebook, on Instagram, and tell them what I do, right? Without being all airy fairy fluffy, right? Like all of the fluffy words, that the jargon that some people use, that can be overwhelming. For me, I've found when I can speak simply, right, saying I help women go from chaos to clarity, we navigate your business and we clean up all the clutter. And usually it is 95% within, right? It's a lot of internal stuff, all of the voices in your head, all the things in your head, all the, oh, I should do this, I should do that. Well, why? Like, why do you need this complex funnel? Why can't you go out and start having a conversation and just like you did, right? Sell your program before it's built, because now you have market proof now that people want what you have, right? So if people don't want what you have and you've already built it, now you've spent all that time building it for nothing to happen. So yes, I 100% agree. Keep it simple, keep it easy, right? Like, just because it's easy and simple doesn't mean that it's not going to take hard work.
Yeah, and I think that this is also striking a balance there. There is a working hard, but strategically, so it's effective and efficient. And you have some means to measure what you're doing to really track, like, is it having the result you want and so on? Do you need to course correct? That you can still be working pretty hard sometimes in entrepreneurship. I mean, ideally not all the time, but yeah, hard work is involved.
Right.
Versus working frantic, like where you just like, head spinning, hair on fire, this way, that way. Oh, I need to try this, or this didn't work. And usually when I ask, like, oh, I've tried everything and it didn't work. It's like, okay, what did you try? Oh, I tried this. Well, that's not everything. That's one thing out of like 200 I can think of. Okay. And how did that go? Well, I don't know. Well, did you check like how many people opened your email, or did you ask somebody who didn't sign up why they didn't? Like, did you have a survey to find out on the back end what was kind of off in your marketing? Oh, no. Well, then you didn't try everything. So that's kind of like, instead of going into, oh my God, I just need to find one right answer. Somehow the magical unicorn exists out there. I just need to find it in the forest. And if I locate it, that's it. I have all the money and everything works out. When in reality, no right answers, just experimenting. Sometimes you have to work a little harder at something. Sometimes it works out pretty easy, but wouldn't you rather do the right things instead of the wrong things all over the place? That's where the clarity comes, is when you understand what is your soul design, what is the strategy that you're actually applying, what works for you and what doesn't. Because if somebody's, let's say, inspiration driven, that's their soul design, and you ask them to create like 20 posts ahead of time in order to feel safe and secure before they go they can't do it. They'll die in the process. But they need to follow that inspired moment when they show up. But then they also need to honor that and accommodate that, because if you are an inspiration-based soul design, that means kids, family, husbands, what, like, dinner doesn't get cooked if you're inspired. You go and do the video first. Like, you have to honor that's if that's your moneymaker, then that's how you do it. Everything stops when you have those moments. And that's totally fine if that's your design. If, let's say, you're one foot in front of the other kind of a person, well, then you need to make sure you have a steady flow and always a list of things to pick from, so you don't sit there wondering, well, what should I do next? Because there's always something to do. And there are many different types of a design that we have internally, understanding how to align your strategy to how you're built, so that you're only doing the right things for your business and you're anchoring your magic. Now you can charge 5,000, 10,000 and more for your offers. So that brings you into a higher ticket market when you actually have like ease. Not necessarily always easy, but there's ease because there's spaciousness. You actually can build a momentum, and momentum means essentially something's propelling you instead of you always having to push rock up the mountain. Well, that takes a little bit to create it, right? But then once it's rolling, it's good. So that means instead of creating a new thing every week, like sometimes people do, like, oh, new freebie, oh, new course coming up next month, and it's like, well, no wonder, because you're not known for anything. You just kind of do a lot of things that's not serving you, and that's just creating more chaos. So understanding strategy, understanding how you're built, anchoring your uniqueness into it and putting it all together, that's how you have the clarity, so that you're not in chaos but in ease and momentum.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. So What is one piece of advice that you would tell your younger self?
Only listen to people who are either ahead of me and ahead in the direction I want to be going, or my clients that paying me money. Do not listen to anyone else.
I love that. I love that so much. Okay, so my last question is probably my favorite question. If you were a kitchen utensil or gadget, what would you be and why?
A mixer, probably, because I can make a smoothie and make something work together that sometimes people think like, well, I can't make this with that. Kind of like, in my business, like, well, I talk to angels, like, how am I going to turn that into something? Well, I have a client who talks to angels and works in corporate with corporate executives and helps them, create, like, you can combine anything. And that's kind of the mixer, like how to make a good smoothie. So I'll be a mixer.
Love it. I love that so much. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. So I will have all the links in the show notes, but go ahead and tell anyone who is listening or watching how they can reach you and just any freebies or anything that you have for them.
Absolutely. So for the ones of you who are coach already, who is kind of like having paying clients and seeing clients and trying to figure out how to get to the next level, and what I was saying about the higher ticket coaching and being a little bit more on the exclusive side so that you can charge more, that's interesting for you, I have a training for you that explains all this methodology and how to actually get there. It's called How Spiritual Coaches and Healers Get to Attract High Ticket Clients Who Pay them more than $5,000 for each offer for doing essentially their soul work. soulstrategywebinar.com. This is the link to the free training. You just get to essentially see and understand. And if there's something that you want from that, definitely connect with me. And I have a website, which is, my name, eugeniaoganova.com. And I also have a website, transcensiongate.com. And there are many different materials and programs and everything you can learn. And of course, you can always message me, in Facebook or LinkedIn. It's at Eugenia Oganova.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure to have you on. I can't wait for everyone to listen in, and thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wow, what a great interview. Thank you so much for showing up here on the Chaos to Clarity podcast. Again, my name is Maggie. I'm so excited to connect with you. You can find all of the information, all of the links below in the show notes for today's interview. And I hope you have the best day ever.